you so much for joining us today for this Donorbox hosted webinar. My name is Jenna, and I'm the nonprofit advocate here at Donorbox. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Donorbox, we provide simple and effective tools for nonprofits to manage their fundraising activities and connect with donors on a deeper level. To date, we have helped over 50,000 organizations from all around the world, as you can see in the chat here, raise over $1 billion in donations. And to learn more about us, you can visit us on our site at donorbox.org. And today, I'm so excited we are joined by Colin Grist to help you uncover your 24-hour donation machine. Now, Col is co-founder and creative director at Few and Far, a creative studio that's using digital innovation to help charities and do good businesses make the world a better place. I love that. He has created award-winning work for some of the UK's most recognized charities and organizations over the past 15 years, including Blue Cross, Cancer Research, NSPCC, Stand Up to Cancer, the Bank of England, and WaterAid. That is quite the impressive portfolio, Call. In addition to running Few and Far, he has a keen interest in fitness and improving people's mental health. In 2018, he trained and qualified to become a level 2 gym instructor, whilst also becoming a qualified club size instructor and first aider in 2019. I think that's super cool. Col also runs Pressures and Perspectives, a magazine and blog, which tells stories about mental health in the creative industry. Awesome. Well, let's all give it up for Col in the chat, everyone, and welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Jenna. That was the best intro I've ever had. You made me sound way better than I am, but thank you very much all the same.
You wrote your bio, so I think it sounded great.
Yeah, I did it. It's all true. It's all true, though.
Now,
well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you. Everybody give it up in the chat. Now, before I officially pass the baton over to you, I knew that was a bit of a tease. I do want to mention just a few items for our audience here. Please note that this session is longer than our normal webinars. Normally we cap it at 60 minutes. Today, it'll be about 75 minutes plus some time for Q&A. This session is being recorded, I promise, and all registrants will receive a link to the recording and the resources we mentioned after the webinar, most likely on Monday, because today's Friday, and you can hear my dog barking in the background, the joys of working from home. Sorry, guys. You can also find this recording on our YouTube channel, so rest assured you will receive the links to all that good stuff. Now, please, please, please feel free to drop questions in the chat box throughout the session, and I will be busy behind the scene marking those questions so that we can answer as many as we can once we get to the end during Q&A. All right, Col, I'm going to pass it over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for that awesome intro. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope that you all find this presentation super helpful. I've run it a few times now, and the feedback's always been really positive, and there are hopefully things in here that can really help you make the difference on your own to try and help more users online, but also to help your organization to increase donations and make more of an impact. So the title is 5 Ways to Inspire Your Online Audience, but how have we come up with that? So I'll just give you a quick intro to me, although Jenna did a way better job. So I'm Col. I'm a creative director and co-founder. I'm a mental wellbeing advocate, a gym instructor and dance instructor as well. That's me on the left there. That's my business partner, Thomas, on the right. We're not related. We're just both white guys with beards, but we always get asked if we are related. We are not. As Jenna mentioned, I'm a fitness instructor. I also feel like I'm a bit of a stigma breaker. I do run my own mental health blog for people in the creative industry specifically. But most importantly, I've worked in this industry for 15 plus years, not only designing, but also developing and building websites, apps and brands for some shameless name drops there, such as Disney, National Lottery, WaterAid, Sony, NSPCC, Channel 4, and all of that good stuff. And myself and Thomas started Few and Far in 2018 with one mission, really, which is to take our skills that we'd learned over years in the commercial sector and to help in the third sector. So our ethos is to help charities make our world a better place. And we do that through brand work, through online experiences, through creative storytelling. And that can help win awards. It can help get new audiences to look at you as a charity, to understand what you do, and to help you make more of an impact. So the agenda for this presentation is, first of all, to talk about why does your website matter? We'll then talk about a service that we started providing to charities for free. And those learnings from all of those reviews that we did are what created this presentation in the first place. And we're going to present those back to you today. There's also an offer going to be at the end for all of you on this call that you can take up. And also there's a Q&A session, which Jenna's going to help me with at the end. So why does your website matter? Well, it is the 24-hour donation machine. It's the one thing you have that never sleeps in your organization. It's always there to tell people about what you do. It's always there to talk about your impact as well. And it's always there to be a voice for those that you help. So your support information, the collateral that you have, the helplines, all of the services, you have that one place that is always working, no matter whether your staff are in bed or not. It's always there. And it has the potential then to be a 24-hour donation machine. It's the one thing always working to help you do more. But there are common problems that we came across when speaking with charities about why they weren't doing more with their website. And the three main problems are time, which I'm sure you can all relate to, not enough time, not enough budget related to marketing, or especially websites and branding and things like that. And also not knowing or having a lack internally of digital expertise. So you might be a charity that has been running a long time. You don't really know an agency or an expert or a freelancer that can help. And so you kind of never really know where to turn. So they're the three main reasons. And this is why we started providing our service. And I'll go through that in a second. You might feel that your website is amazing. It's the best website ever, and that there's nothing wrong with it. But have you really ever considered your end user journeys? Have you ever thought about the people at the other end of the funnel who are using your website, how they traverse through the website, how they get the information that they need? How does your team get the information they need? Is it easy for your team to manage, or are they spending lots and lots of time being stuck in the back end and trying to write articles and not really knowing what they're doing? And also, at a fundamental level, does your website actually say who you are, what you do, and why you do it? It's surprising how many don't. You could also check about how the experience is for users on other devices as well, such as on mobile and tablet, something that we often use other people's websites on our phone, but we haven't actually checked our own. Also, you can check where are users leaving, where are people dropping off of our website? Are they not really engaging past the homepage or past the news page? And also, one thing you can check right now is, have you tried to donate yourself? Have you gone to your website? Have you clicked the call to action that says donate? What's the experience like? Is it a very, very long, drawn out process? Is it really quick and easy? Are you providing users with quick, different, varied options on how they can support you? So all of these things were all questions we started asking lots of organizations, lots of charities. And because of that, we started doing something called the Impact Optimizer, which are bespoke website audits with 5 suggestions that we believe are actionable by you or the team that we presented to. So the whole idea was, it's a free service. The time of what it would take to do those actions should be quite small. It shouldn't take you long. And they are things that you should be able to do yourself. They should be simple. You all probably have websites that have got a back-end system, such as WordPress or a content management system. So these are all very, very small things. They could be simply, did you know your donate button doesn't work currently? Can you make sure it does? It can be, you don't explain who you are. Can you go into your content management system and write this bit of content? You know, to more kind of extravagant examples. But fundamentally, the idea of this service was to provide input to give them the tools themselves to make a difference on their own website. It was and still is a great success. We've had loads of charities take us up on the offer, both big and small charities. And all of these charities had things that were unique to them, unique problems, but all of them had a lot of commonalities. A lot of them had the same problems. And that's what this presentation is about. It's those common reoccurring suggestions of change, which is what this presentation is going to show you. And they are the 5 ways to inspire your online audience and help your 24-hour donation machine do more for you. So with that little intro, are we ready? Let's have a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat. Boom. Awesome. It's good that you're listening. I hope my accent's not too broad as well. Most people are not from the UK, so I apologize. Okay, so Jenna, if you want to put the first poll question up, that would be awesome. So the first point today is about reducing choice overload. So being provided with too much choice. How many of you have been on a website and are just given far too many options? You don't really know where to turn. You might go on there and feel overwhelmed. Maybe you go on your own website and feel like that. The amount of charities that we've spoke to who actually don't know where important information they need themselves even is on the website is alarming, really. So we're talking about, you might have volunteer forms, donation forms, helpful guides. The website is as important for you internally as it is for people externally. Use it as a resource, but it's so interesting how many members of staff don't really go on the website for that information. So that can be a case of, it's just there's too much on there and I don't really know where to turn, so I feel overwhelmed. So imagine if you feel like that, what do members of the public feel like? What do users of your website actually feel like? So that's what choice overload is. You can go on a website and there's just too much going on. I don't really know what I'm looking for and I'm going to leave. And really, we want to be the guide and guide users through our website to where we want them to end up. So we'll go through some before and after examples. Most of these examples, the before is on the left and the after is on the right. And these are all real life examples of suggestions we put to charities and community foundations through our Impact Optimizer service. So the first example here is Leeds Community Foundation, which are our local community foundation to where Few and Far are based in Leeds in the UK. Now you'll see on the example on the left that there are 14 links in their header. So their main menu, when you first go on their website, has 14 options for you to take. Not only that, but a lot of those options also have drop-down menus, which has even more options in it. You might also notice that the top, I think it's 6 links there, all take you away from the website. So it's very, very common that we have social media links in our headers. And, we want to tell people about our latest podcast or our latest newsletter. But these are all things that mean people are leaving the website straight away. We really want to reduce this choice down to what really, really matters, not only to us, but to our end users. So removing those 6 links was one of the suggestions that we made. We want to keep people on the website and guide them to where we need to be. We don't want them to leave instantly. The idea of social media should be to get people to our website, not the other way around. So by reducing the choice and emphasizing what's important, we can become the guide. So by reducing the options to the fundamental ones, it can really make a difference. It helps reduce when users land on your site. Okay, I can see they have a page that tells us about their impact, or ways I can help them, or ways I can donate. We don't necessarily need all of the other things that are in there. And by reducing the amount of information that's in your header, you can start to draw the eye to things that are important, which could be about the logo, or it could be, more importantly, a primary call to action on your website. So in this example, on the before, you will see that they had donate to the Leeds Fund, which was just this turquoise link, and it kind of sat in and around all of the other links. And really at a glance isn't prominent. You don't really see it. And all we said was, can you make that an actual button? Which they did. And you'll see in the after example, the navigation is a lot simpler. There are not ways of leaving the website instantly, and donate really stands out now. So it really draws the eye. So the visual hierarchy is a lot better than it was before as well. The next one related to choice overload. This example is the Yorkshire's Brain Tumour Charity. So again, Yorkshire is where I'm from. This is a local charity. How many websites do you go on and they have a huge drop-down menu of links and options? I'm sure we see them all of the time, especially in this space, especially in the third sector. Every website I seem to go on, you go over volunteer and there's 1,000 options. You go over about us and there's another 1,000 options. And the reason for that is that over time, a lot of us have built our websites up and added to it and added to it and added to it. And we've kind of forgot that, wow, we're offering people a lot of ways to get around here. And one sort of myth or kind of thing that a lot of people think is that, well, if we provide a drop down, people can get to things quicker and it's less clicks. But it could also mean that they don't click at all. Menus such as this can be quite overwhelming, really. And we're not really guiding users to what's important. We're guiding them to kind of everything all at once. We're going, here's everything we have, and it's all as important as one another. So in this example on the left, it's a little bit difficult to see, but their menu, when you hovered over it, you had all of these links, lots and lots of links. And in the example, we've hovered over their giving and events section. Obviously, that's a super important section, and I'm sure a lot of us have those. But clicking the page itself to just go to giving and events had hardly any information on it at all. So how do I find out more in general about everything that's in the giving and events section? I can't really do that. I have to just see everything in the drop-down menu. When you went there, it was just a blank page. So what we did was we suggested, well, you could actually remove the drop-down and all of the second and third and fourth level links that you have on your website by having a landing page that did the job for you. If you went to the giving page, the supporters page, and it explained what fundraising meant and what the events were and how you could get involved, you're not only giving users more context about what the sections are before they commit to click into it, but it's just helping you with your SEO. It's helping be the guide. It's explaining what things are rather than throwing lots of links in a big menu that's kind of overwhelming. So we simply suggested just take those headings that are in the drop down, use those as headings on the page itself, and then you can explain and you can link away to whatever you want there. So that's another really simple example. Another example, we work with UK Community Foundations, which is the community foundation for all of the community foundations here in the UK. So quite a big deal. They look after 46 foundations in this country. They took the Impact Optimizer, and so they kind of let us use their examples as well. As you'll see on the left, they were quite similar to Leeds. They had Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter that took you away from the site. So straight away we were like, maybe you should think about taking those away. But as well as removing those external links, we asked them to consider how they name their sections and what the menu link labels are specifically. So originally the names weren't the worst we've seen. But in their example, they had About Us and Our Impact as two separate areas of their website. You could give them a more succinct name, such as What We Do or How We Help. And it's quite interesting how much of a difference that can make to someone. It really clears up any sort of ambiguity. If you think about, if I go to an About Us page on a charity website, it might be about the charity. It might be about the team specifically. It could be about your history. It could be the services that you provide. You know, it could be all of those things, and it could be in a big drop down. So, you know, by clearing it up and having it specifically tell a user what this section's content will include is going to help you get people to where they need to be quicker. So consider the end user, keep it clear, and try and reduce your choice overload however you can. That one makes sense? Give us a thumbs up. I want two, actually. Can I have two? That'd be good. Jenna, feel free to hit the next poll question as well. I'd love to get that one up. Awesome. So number 2 is calls to action and the purpose of your actual pages on your website. So I'm sure that there's some incredible, I'm sure every single person that's on here has got an incredible cause and they're doing really good work. And I bet that on a lot of your websites, you've got really good content. But why have you even got that content on your website? Well, that might seem really obvious, but have we really ever thought about what the purpose of this content being here is for and who is it serving. And if it has a purpose, how are we leveraging that to make it work harder for us? So I'll give you some examples. This is Mind in Bradford. They are a local mental health charity to where I live, and I did a fundraiser for them at the start of the year with my dancing. And they're a mental health charity who have lots of incredible content. They've got really, really good content, really inspiring stuff. They've got inspiring stories and case studies on their website about the people that they've helped, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. And why though? Why do they have case studies? It seems obvious, but it shows the good that they do. It shows the difference that they make in their community, obviously, as well. But when you were on the page, which is the one on the left there, after I'd read this inspiring case study, the page ended. So I've read this really heartfelt story about the charity and this guy called Ian, who they'd helped. And then I get to the bottom and I look at the footer of their website and go, oh, you know, that was nice. So if a user has made it to the bottom of the page, you've got to consider that they are now more invested than they were prior to going to that page. They're a warmer lead, if you like. So they're warmer than they were before. Could we ask for their support? Could we ask for a donation? And that's what we suggested on the right. So before, the case study was really, really inspiring, but the page ended and it was like, well, that was a lovely read. I'm going out for lunch now. Now, when I get to the bottom, it asks me if I donated £40 or $40, if you like, it would help pay for support for other people like Ian. So it will pay for a support wellbeing group session to support 10 adults just like Ian. So we're giving that emotional, personal angle on the content that I've just read, and we're being specific about where we'd like to take our users next. So again, we're being the guide. We're trying to funnel people and show them, look, we make a difference, and this is how you can help us make even more of a difference. So yeah, you can keep it really simple. If you wanted to just put it across your whole website along the bottom of all your case studies, it could just be really generic. It could just be like, help us help more people like this with an amount. But you can be personal. You can contextualize it if you have the time. Talk about Ian. Talk about the difference that you made to him. Make sense? Cool. The next one is Site Savers. So Site Savers are a huge charity, but they had the same issue as Mind in Bradford did. They have, they're a really large charity and also have their own digital team. So some of you may have your own, but most probably don't. But they had, you know, they've got their own team, developers, designers, all that kind of stuff. But when we did a review, I felt that they had the same issue as the previous example. They've got these incredible stories, beautiful imagery and content. And then at the end, Sadar, who is this chap here, Sadar tells us he's really happy now. So I'm like, oh, I love Sadar. Sadar's great. That's great. I'm so happy that he's happy. And I'm going for my lunch again. So instead, we just said, can you take that block where it says I'm really happy and flip it into something more actionable that you'd like users to take? So again, contextualize your call to action here. Help us help others like Sadar. What would $10 enable this charity to do more of? What would more volunteers allow you to do? So it doesn't always have to be about give us money, give us donations. If you're on the volunteering section and you've got a really positive story about an event that you did, but you need more volunteers for the next one, at the end of that story, ask for more volunteers. Be specific. What is the purpose of the page I am on right now? Is it just to inspire? If it is, great. But you might be able to convert that inspiration into donations or other actions you'd like users to take. The next one is UK Community Foundations again. Their impact page obviously has great case studies, not only about what they do, but the foundations they help and the charities that those foundations help. So they've got loads and loads of great inspirational content. And they enable charities, obviously, and communities to make massive changes. But again, they didn't have any call to actions. You read about their impact and the difference they've made, and then you could read more about it. So that's better than nothing. But I'm in this kind of endless cycle of just reading great things, and I'm not really being moved anywhere where we'd like to take them. We're not being funneled anywhere. So let's promote something here. Let's ask for a donation again, or to become a member, or to link through to the charity that they're promoting within the case study. So all of your organizations, you probably all are looking for different ways for people to engage. It might be to sign up to a newsletter. It might be to sign up for a podcast. It might be to donate $1,000. It might be to volunteer on a Saturday. Think about the pages that you have right now. Those pages that might be quite engaging, might have quite good inspirational content on them. And think about, if I read that information, I'm a lot warmer than I was. And you could ask me very simply with a message, a box, something that stands out to say, come and do this thing for us. Does that make sense? Thumbs up. Excellent. Are we all getting this so far? I hope so. Cool. Jenna, feel free to hit the next poll question. Excuse me. Accessibility. My suggestion, make it as accessible as possible. Can't even say it. I'm really interested to see how many people answer this. Oh, it's literally down the middle between yes, no, and somewhat. That's interesting. So you may have heard of it. You may be like, I know about it, but I don't know anything about it. You may be very, very switched onto it. It's a vast array of different people understanding different things around it. Now, accessibility, making a website or mobile app accessible means making sure it can be used by as many people as possible. So Gov, which is the government website here in the UK, states that being accessible includes those with impaired vision, with motor difficulties, with cognitive impairments or learning disabilities, and deafness or impaired hearing. At least 1 in 5 people in the UK have a long-term illness, impairment, or disability, and many more of those have temporary disabilities as well. So being accessible means a lot more than just putting your content online. You can't just put things there and be like, that'll do. It means making that your content and your design is clear and simple enough so that most people can use it without needing to adapt it, while supporting those who do need to adapt things. So for example, I'll give you an example. Someone with impaired vision might use a screen reader, which is software that lets a user navigate a website and read out the content. They might use a braille display or a screen magnifier to zoom right in on their website. Accessibility is a really serious issue. And most public sector websites, do not currently meet accessibility requirements. A recent study, I think, found that about 4 in every 10 local council homepages fail basic tests for accessibility. So I don't want to be dramatic, but imagine that your local council didn't have a disabled ramp and it was only steps. It'd be outrageous, wouldn't it? So I don't want to be dramatic, but that's a real life example I'll give you right there, just to help get you thinking about that. So yeah, accessibility is a huge topic and it covers loads and loads of things. But here's some things we felt, you should consider in the first instance and are quite easy to do. So this example on the left is the Leeds Community Foundation website again. And this is their landing page that you went to. It was quite nice to look at, quite attractive. It made you want to do things with it. But there were a lot of things about it that were wrong from an accessibility perspective. Now, one of the big ones is text over images. We're all obsessed with putting text over people's faces, putting strap lines over people's eyes, all that kind of stuff. So if we're having photos of people that we help on there, make sure you can actually see those people. They're there for that human connection. If I'm a user of your website and I see someone you've helped, I can be inspired and have that human connection with them, but I can't if you've put a big message over their face. So as you'll see, they had that problem, that they had text straight over pictures of the people they help. They also had fonts on the website that were just difficult to read for people, not only for me, but people with visual impairment as well, or people who are slower at reading. When you've got fancy script fonts and things like that, they're quite difficult to read anyway. They also had really low contrast. So you might notice there in the blue box that the white text in the paragraph is pretty hard to see anyway. Imagine someone who is visually impaired. They're not able to see that, unfortunately. So a simple suggestion we had for them was what we provided on the right, which is, well, you've got these boxes, we like the colors, but we want to see the people and we don't need the script font. So all we did was move the color down, kept the image where it was, remove the script font, and made the colors darker so that the contrast was higher. And which looks better? I would say that what we did looks better as well. It looks clearer, it's more obvious what's going on, it's easier for everybody to read, and that's just something to consider. The next one is to don't rely on imagery for important information. This is so common, and I bet a lot of you right now could go on your website and find something like this, and I'd love to know. So if we're thinking about users who cannot see and are relying on a machine to tell them what they're doing, which is what a screen reader does, there is a lot of information out there on charitable websites that they're not able to get. So not only can users who rely on a screen reader not be provided with information, but it's no good for your search ranking. So in the example of Alexandra Rose on the left there, they had this incredible grid, which you can see there in like the pink color, of all of their amazing work, the great things that they do, the impact that they make, how old they are as a charity. But that's a picture. And the problem with a picture is, if you're blind, you can't see pictures. So you don't know anything about the impact that they make as a charity at all. Not only that, but it's no good for your Google search ranking, because Google is also not picking up that information. It doesn't understand that there are 56 market traders, that there are 55 children's centers that they've created. It doesn't understand any of that information because it's a pretty image. So talking about how to donate, or the amazing impact a charity has made, or the great changes a charity did in 1 year alone, are all things that are kind of lost. And these are other examples here. A really important piece of information, which is, can you text to this number to donate £1? I can if I can read it, but why isn't that text available elsewhere on the website? Does it need to be an image? Probably not. The bottom right example is 2021 in a nutshell for a charity who help women in war-torn countries. Amazing impact, such a positive difference they make. But again, it's just an image. So people who are relying on being able to use devices to tell them information that's on a page won't get that information. So just ensure that that information is accessible to all, whether it's in the copy around it or it's described underneath, but don't rely solely on the image to provide that important, vital information. Also, just a final point on that is, just think how small those images are on mobile as well. Just for you in general, if you went on this website on mobile, you're going to be pinching and zooming like mad just to read what it says. So, yeah. So the next one is, I don't want to confuse anybody here, but has anyone ever heard of W3C? And if you have you ever heard of AA or AAA accessibility? Anyone in the chat? Gives us a thumbs up if so. Yeah, couple, pretty much, quite a few no's though. That's good. Well, it's not good, but it's fine. So the W3C stands for the World Wide Web Consortium, and they are the main international standards organization for the World Wide Web. They're led by Tim Berners-Lee, who literally created the World Wide Web. So, you know, he's no big deal or anything. He didn't do much. And it's a consortium that is made up of member organizations that maintain full-time staff working together in the development of standards for the internet and how we use it. And they have rules around what we should be striving for related to color and contrast. So I don't want to get too complicated on this, but we all need to consider the color contrast of our website and how key calls to action, key messaging on our website might look on a foreground and a background color. So I'll give you a couple of quick examples. So you can see on the left the difference between the low contrast yellow button and what it would look like in black and white. So if you're colorblind or you don't see color or whatever that is, that you're not really seeing any difference between yellow won't be a color to you, but also being able to see donate on that button is pretty much impossible. It's difficult for me. Imagine what it's like for someone who's visually impaired. And also imagine the importance of that button to you as an organization. You want people to be able to press that button or see that message or that statement or that impact result. But the contrast is too low. If you see below, that's a version of it that does pass the contrast level. So it has a darker color on the buttons. Again, the color hasn't mattered, but you can see it. Another thing to consider is that even if you can nail the contrast of your website and make sure that everything works, you've got to consider the size of content too. So with their new 2.0 formula, which not only differentiates color contrast, but it also differentiates the size of which the text is or isn't compliant on the color. So on the right there, I've got the 3 green button example. Technically, the contrast of that button is enough to pass. So the sort of blue color on the green. But for AA accessibility, it needs to be of a larger size as well, which is the middle button. However, if we're wanting to hit the high heights of AAA accessibility, which is hopefully where the world will go eventually, you need to have it higher contrast. So you can see that the donate color is now darker on the green. I hope that makes sense. It's quite complicated, it's color contrast, but I've got a really helpful tool at the end of this talk that you can basically put in your brand. Say you have a website that has a white background, you can put the white color in, and say your buttons are red, you can put the red color in and it will tell you the contrast level and if they pass or fail. It's really, really good, really simple to use. And I would definitely recommend you all do it because some of you will have colors that naturally just are compliant. Some of you will be miles off, and it's really important that you address it for really important features of your website. If your donate button is not color compliant, you're kind of asking for trouble there. All right. So Jenna, you can hit the next poll if you like, which is about mobile, I believe. Number 4 is consider your mobile audience. So would you say you browse online more on your mobile or your desktop? It looks pretty much like most people are going to say on mobile. But when was the last time you actually visited your own charity website on your phone or a tablet? And what's it like to use? So here's some more examples. So on the left, we have this website as it was, which is Blink, which is a mental health support charity. Now, at a glance, it's like, yeah, it looks all right. It's kind of clear. But note the logo and the hard to spot menu button. And realize that on my iPhone, I don't have a iPhone 14, which is like this large. I have a iPhone SE, which is the smaller one. And on my phone, the menu and the logo take up almost 50% of my entire screen when I initially go on there. And also note on accessibility again, that center aligning your content is just harder for anyone to read. Not only people who struggle and may have to read slower or are visually impaired, but having large reams of text that is central is just difficult for anyone to read. You wouldn't read a book with everything centered, would you? You'd read it left aligned. So what we did was we said, okay, this menu is obviously, it's a bit lost. It doesn't really stand out and it's sort of clashing with the logo. The logo is obviously enormous and taking up most of my screen. And also the content, again, is not only center aligned, but it's got italics in it, which is even harder to read. So all we did was we just suggested, we think you could go in your back-end area and change the menu to look like this. And you'll also notice something else about it, that it now has a donate button, which the amount of desktop websites that have a nice donate button top right, but when you go on mobile, it's in the menu or it's hidden away somewhere is incredible, really. So not only have we reduced the amount of collateral on screen so that the messaging and important information is further up, but we've been able to give them a prominent primary call to action, which is to donate. Not only that, but we've added an icon to the menu, so the menu and the donate now stand out and they stand alone. And you can see the difference that that's made. It's just allowed everything to just get a little bit further up the page, and we're starting to see those call to actions where we want to take people next, such as CR Impact. In this next example, this is Let's Talk About Loss. And hello. They have a huge hello message. So again, very similar to the last one. But they also, you can see the donate button there. Is that color compliant? It's pretty hard to see, right? And again, that's a real life example that we found of a donate button that is super low color contrast. White on yellow is a no-go. So what we suggested was, again, with a few fixes, is what they have there on the right. So the header is obviously reduced drastically in size. The donate button is now black on yellow, and it's again featured top right rather than sort of in the middle of the page. And we just said, can you just go into the CMS and just reduce the size of the text? Oh yeah, I can do that. So we asked them then, let's think of something else that we want to say here. And, hi, let's talk is better than hello. And then explain what you do, really concise. And it's made such a difference to the amount of space on screen. You will also see, it's very subtle, but the original had a textured background on it. We just said, just take that off. It's making it harder to read things. And really the difference is very, very minimal, isn't it? The text is a lot clearer on the right than on the left because we've just got rid of that texture. So there's a few things there, really simple things. We're not asking anyone to redesign their website. It's just about, let's reduce this, let's change the color of that, and let's reduce the size of these. And it's made a big difference to that initial experience. The next one is, I'm just going to say choice overload again here, which was our very first point. So on the left, when you go on my phone, this is what I saw. And I was like, oh, I don't know where to look. There are things fighting for my eyes, for my, what I want to, where they want me to go next. And as you can see on the left there, we've got a donate call to action. We have a helpline call to action. We have a search bar. We have a main navigation button. We've got a really large logo. And we've got the classic 5 links to external social media channels. And that's just too much, especially on a small device. So by suggesting what we did on the right, which is just to remove the social links, tidy up a little bit of it, it's very, very simple what we've done there. But you can see the amount of space we've got back. We're really, helplines and donate to them are very important. So it wasn't like, let's get rid of one and just keep the other. But by reducing a lot of that stuff, it just helps clean up the experience. And the other problem they had is that this menu is actually fixed on mobile. So when you are scrolling, it stays there. It is pinned. So look at the image again on the left. Think about how much screen I was scrolling there. It's just that little bit below the main navigation, just this very, very small area. So yeah, really simple, tidied it up, and we've retained everything there. Everything's been retained except for the social links. And yeah, it just means that we can get the content working harder for us earlier. All good? Excellent. And my final point, number 5, is to be the guide and to inspire from the start. Now, can anyone in the chat tell me what's wrong with the image on the left? I'll just give it a minute, let you have a little look at it. It's the one on the left there. Left menu. Anyone else? Too many choices. Looks sad. Yeah. Cody, Jen, brilliant. Everything that everyone said is right. The amount of choice is ridiculous. The imagery, I don't think anyone picked this up actually, but imagery that is telling you about something with no text, bad as well. But the QR code is the big crime here. So if I scan a QR code on the website, where does it take me? It takes me to the website, doesn't it? There's absolutely, I should never ever see a QR code on a website, and this was front and center on their homepage. So someone said, why have we got a QR code? That should just be a link. It's absolutely unnecessary. So really, really obvious change, but just consider if you do have QR codes, you don't need them on there. So quite funny. But also, let's go back to a few of our other points, which is when I went to the site, it was telling me about an awareness workshop. Now, if we're to inspire and be the guide, well, I don't know anything about this charity right now. I've just come here. I've just come to the homepage. They haven't told me who they are, what they do, or how they do it. They just go in, we've got our logo there. That's all people know, or people need to know. And that's a problem over time where we're like internalizing what we do. It becomes more important to tell everyone about the latest thing we're doing, the latest event, the latest thing that's happening, the timely content, when really what you're always trying to do is reach out to more and more people to get more and more supporters, and you've got to explain to them what you do. But if I go on their website, it's telling me about a mental health awareness workshop. So I can maybe summarize, oh, okay, they must do something about mental health, but I don't know anything about this organization right now. Not only that, the image, again, didn't have alt text. It doesn't have text that explains to people who might not be able to see images what they do or what this workshop's about. So what we suggested was what we've done on the right. So you'll see straight away that we simplified the amount of navigation. We asked them to remove home and I think it was shop, because it feels a bit forced where we're asking people to go to their shop straight away. And also home, whether you have it or not, you should always have your logo linked to your homepage. So there's debate on whether you even need a home, because that is very, very common functionality that you click a logo to go to the home. So again, by reducing it to just about us, our impact, get support and donate, that is pretty much all you ever need on any charity website, really. And within those sections, you can talk about whatever you like and funnel people to different areas. But what was most important here is to inspire, inform, and explain who you are and what you do. And that's what we did. So we just said, you've got this block already on your website further down somewhere. Can that go at the top? And we wrote this content for them. It was already on their website, but again, you've got to go and dig for it. You've got to find it on their About Us page, their history, or in a report somewhere that they've had done for their annual, impact report. So instead of just telling me about a mental health workshop, it says that since our inception in 2003, our dream has been to create a happier, healthier, more resilient and sustainable world. And then it goes on to tell you that we are a non-profit organization dedicated to helping individuals and companies recognize and reduce stress. It couldn't be any more clearer now to me what they do. I've never heard of them before. I've gone on there. It tells me straight away what they do. And it's also providing me with guidance on where to go next. It's telling me about, maybe you want to check out our impact section, or maybe you need support yourself. We don't have to do everything all in the same area. It becomes complicated. It becomes timely and unnecessary. And we need to get back to basics about informing everyone who's new to your organization what you do. And that needs to stay pride of place, really, on your website. And you can see by clearing that up, the donate stands out as well. That'll be there on every page. You know, it's just a lot clearer. And all we've done is just the rest of the site as it was is just below that now. So really simple changes, but we need to be inspiring more. We need to talk about how long we've been going. So, you know, we mentioned there 2003, talking to the human side about creating a happier and healthier, more resilient and sustainable world, and then guiding people to where we want them to go next. In the next example, this is Minding Bradford's homepage again, as I mentioned earlier. And they had incredible statistics in their reports, but not on their website. I've seen this countless times where you go to a charitable website and you're trying to find out about the difference that they make because they want your donation. But I have to go find it in their 2020 report or their 2021 report. And really, that information has got to be front and center because it's in a nutshell everything that you do. So all we did was said, can we get a block on the homepage that explains that you do want more donations, but with those donations you do this? And their statistics are incredible. So during the 12 months from March 2020, we supported more people than ever before, helping 3,322 people at 23,000 attendances across our services. These numbers are crazy. And it's like, there is no better leverage you can ask for than telling people about the impact you've made and then ask for that donation or other ways that they can help. So a really, really simple change, but take the content you've got probably elsewhere and think about how you can use it to leverage your donations on your website. Don't just hide them away in your history or, you know, in a PDF somewhere. And the next one is basically, you saw this earlier. This is the Alexandra Rose one with the impact graphic where all of the important information is just kind of in a graphic. And this is the difference that we made on their impact page. So we were like, your impact page is good. It's got some really good information, but it's a graphic. So when people get here, they're obviously wanting to know more about what they do and the difference that they make. So let's tell them about that straight away, make it accessible as well. So we just put a block at the top, which is copy, just very simple. For almost a decade, the Rose Voucher for Fruit and Veg Project has supported over 6,327 families to access fresh fruit and veg in their community. Straight away, you may never have heard of them, but you're like, okay, they've been around a long time. They've helped a hell of a lot of families and they're doing really good things. So straight away, if that's all you ever needed to know about them, you've learned it straight away. And what we did was all of those statistics that are the little squares that you see there, such as the 55 children's centres, that's now a block. So you can see the block below there just cutting off. We've distributed Rose vouchers to over 55 children's centres in the UK. And that page now is like a story. So you read it, you're not getting, it's not a graphic, but it is giving you more context about what these things mean, what these statistics do. And then throughout that page, you can be asking for people to volunteer or to donate or to go onto another page that makes a difference. And your impact page can really become a really important way of signposting users to not only the difference you've made, but how you can even do more of that by doing this thing you want them to do. And that's inspiring, really. That information and making it readable and digestible and talking about your history and the difference that you make, that is what's really inspiring. And that's how you can then become the guide and guide people to where you want them to be. Does that make sense? Thumbs up, thumbs down, hit me up. Excellent. Jenna, I can't remember if we had any more poll questions. This is now the end before we go on to a few bonus tips I've got. I'm not sure if we had another one or not. Do you have changes? Oh, yeah. So in summary, they're the 5 things for you to consider. I do believe there are all things that we could go away and do right now on our sites without it costing us anything other than a bit of our time. And I'd love to know if this has helped, and that if you think you can make any of these changes on your website, because I believe if you do, it will really make a difference. Awesome. Look at this. 95% yes. Brilliant. Okay, so that's the first part. And I just want to talk about a few bonus tips. So here's some things to help you out as well. Donorbox have kindly hosted this. It's a pleasure to be here. Donorbox are amazing. And their Donorbox standard offers no monthly fees, no contracts, and it's completely free if you ask donors to cover your fees. So it's a really good platform that I would recommend you all check out if you are not already with Donorbox. Instead of just having like a PayPal link, or, you know, you can all do better in the experience of donating, and Donorbox is a really good choice for that. In regards to accessibility, I mentioned earlier about color contrast and color compliance. Colorcontrast.cc is the one. You go there, you put your color in, you put your other color in, and it'll go, yep, it passes, no, it doesn't. And you can even adjust the sliders to make sure that it does. Really, really easy to use. I use it all the time whenever we're designing anything. It's my go-to tool for that. So color contrast, and that's color, the English spelling with a U. Colorcontrast.cc. Another one is Wave, which is a web accessibility evaluation tool. And you go on there, it's just a website. You can also get an extension for Google Chrome, so it's just click of a button. But you can put your charity's website address in, and it will just go, here's where you are at right now with your accessibility. So for those people earlier who didn't really know about accessibility or what it meant, this is a really good thing you can do right now to just give yourself a score to help you understand what you can do to make it better, because it will say you're missing descriptions on images, or that the color contrast is too low. And it may be the first time you've ever been given any sort of result or feedback on where you are at right now. So check that out. Really good. Oh, thank you, Jenna, for putting those in. I've got more bonus tips. So Canva is it's a really good online design tool. So it saves all of your designs in the cloud, in the magical cloud. And if you want to get better at making, you know, graphics to help explain your impact, make sure you put text around it. But if you wanted to make better graphics, or you wanted to do more with banners or social media templates and anything like that, and you don't really know where to start, Canva's a really nice, easy to use tool for people in this sector. We recommend it to quite a lot of our own clients, and they always find it quite easy to use. And most importantly, the pro version of it is free for charities. So in the UK, it's £100 a year for someone like me to have a license for it. But for a charity, it's completely free. So that's at canva.com/Canva for nonprofits. And I think it's really, really simple. You put like your charity number in, and that's about it. You're sorted. So I would check that out if you just really wanting to, you know, try and help. Even if you wanted to use it just to like test your colors and a bit of design, or you want to try different fonts and things like that. It's just a really nice, easy to use tool for designing anything that you want. The next one is Unsplash, which is if you're ever struggling for imagery, and you know, a lot of charities do, they struggle for like professional photography. They don't have any photographs of their clients or the children they've helped or anything like that. Unsplash is a fantastic library of hand-picked, high quality photographs. They don't feel stocky, you know, they don't feel staged. They're not cheesy men in suits on white backgrounds. It's very, very real life, you know, real people style photography, and it's beautiful. We use it a lot in design examples. I use it a lot in decks and things like that. So check that out. That's unsplash.com. You can just search for anything you want on there. So elderly person, you know, kids smiling, whatever you want, you can find that on there, and it might help you with your graphics, with your reports, your website. Pixabay is similar to Unsplash. Pixabay not only does images, but they do video as well. So if you're wanting some video content to help inspire, you can check that out. They also do music, so just check Pixabay out. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to talk about what we do and the work that we've been doing with charities. So as I mentioned at the very start, we help charities with transformations through brands, through websites, through online campaigns. This is a recent project we did for a children's cancer fund called Lennox, which is local to us here in the UK. And they are a 30-year-old charity who help children, but they also help the families of the children with support. So whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, they also do like respite breaks and things like that. And they help children, but their brand was childish. And they were very down on their own brand. They'd lost self-belief in what they do. And they didn't really know where to turn. And we started speaking to them. They came to us initially about, we want a website, but it ended up being they needed a new brand and website. And what we did for them has transformed not only them, but their own self-belief in what they do. We did a full brand for them, collateral, merchandise, and it blew them away. They really liked that we got to know them and understand their real ethos behind what they do. And yeah, it really transformed them. And not only that, but we did a lot of collateral for them as well, including the case for support documentation, which you may be familiar with, which is basically documentation to help them pitch for, for grants and things like that. And they would never have done this without the work that we did. This is Lindsay, and she works really hard at Lennox, and she'd wrote a lot of information about their case for support, and it was a huge document, and she didn't really know how to present it, how to go about doing, explaining the real impact that they make. And so we took that documentation and we made it into a really presentable, hard-hitting deck such as this, which is about getting to the facts, showing the quotes, showing the difference that they make, and it instantly resonated. And so much so that they won a grant from CIBC Bank, which is actually a Canadian bank, which is going to support them for the next, I think it's 18 months to 3 years. And they would never have done that because they, as I mentioned earlier, they never had the self-belief to do what they did. So I really like this photograph because that's Lindsay after the presentation. She looks like she's levitating. So yeah. And I just wanted to show you this, which is a reaction to the CEO of Lennox, who obviously started the charity 30 years ago, and he thought, "Oh, the brand's fine. It's great. I love it. And why are we getting a new rebrand?" Which is not what you want to hear as a creative. And we'd worked very closely with their marketing manager and Lindsay, who's their fundraising manager. And this was the first time we presented the brand, and he was on the call. So he wasn't really bothered, but this is his reaction, and I hope you can hear it. So a potential website concept where you can see all of the colours, the ribbon ideas and things come together.
Can I just butt in, please?
Yes.
I just think it's unbelievable. Fantastic. No, I don't. I think it's so, it really is, anymore. I just think that's just wonderful piece of work.
Oh, thank you.
Now I feel really emotional.
And Vince is the one that said he wasn't going to display any emotion today.
It really is.
So you can see there that his reaction is incredible, but the reaction of the other people at the charity, it said everything, and it meant such a difference to them, and it really has continued to help them grow. Another project, another style of project that we do is creative storytelling. I'm sure that we've all heard of creative storytelling, and we all probably do it in some form. We might have, as I mentioned in the presentation, case studies where we talk about the great work that we've done, but we do it at a very, very high level, a very interactive level. And we worked with one of the first ever charities we started working with, which is a homeless charity here in Leeds, and they have been going for 90 years. Now, on their website, they had a blog post about being 90. And that was it. It had about 6 bullet points about highlights that they'd done in 90 years. And it was just boring, just really, really boring. What happened was the pandemic happened. And I'm sure a lot of you experienced this. A lot of the fundraising that you did, a lot of the campaigns that you were planning kind of went out of the window because we couldn't meet in person. And they came to us and said, "We've got some budget left over. is there anything we can do online? Is there anything cool we could do to try and help raise awareness and try and help tell our story? Because we literally can't have boots on the ground out asking for donations. And so we came up with a timeline, which is called Then and Now. And it is, I asked them, have you got any collateral from the last 90 years? Anything that I can look at? It turned out they had a ring binder about this thick, which was historical photographs, appeal leaflets from 1931, video archive footage, and we created Then and Now. So Then and Now is an interactive timeline of the charity. And this experience really opened up the audience that St. George's Crypt has, because not only did it resonate with people who know the charity and for people who want to help them and support them anyway, but it also opened it up to creatives, people who appreciate good web design, good interactive design. And it massively helped with their brand awareness, but also it massively helped with their online donations. And there's some of the results of that. So it had a huge change in not only their online donations, but because we launched it at Christmas, it really helped with their Christmas campaigns. I was really chuffed, but we were nominated for a digital award for it as well. So this local Leeds charity was then being featured on YouTube for this creative project they'd done, which was getting millions of views. So it can really show you the power of creative storytelling and how you can get your message out there. Now, to finish, I wanted to talk to you about the Impact Optimizer, which is the service we've provided to all of the other charities that I mentioned at the start and all of the learnings that have come out of this. Everyone who's on this call right now, you can book on for one and we will do it. So go and book one. It's completely free. We do one a week. And yeah, that's it really. You'll get your own bespoke document with 5 suggestions. So we'll go away. You book a date, book a time. Between then and now, we will go through your website, think of the 5 things that we think you can change yourself and that will make the difference. And when we see you on that call, we'll already have the document ready. We'll record the meeting and provide you with the PDF, and you can just go away and do it. And that's completely free. And we'd love you all to book it on. It books up quick, and we only do one a week. So if you have to wait till December or January, I do apologize. And I would love a follow. I love a good follow on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. I talk a lot about the things we've spoken about today. I provide a lot of charity tips. I provide information about upcoming webinars, such as this that I'm doing. And I also talk about latest work in the sector that we've done, such as some of the examples you've just seen. And I'd love for you to connect for another reason, which is if you ever have any question about digital or about how you can do more online, I'll answer it. I don't mind. Just send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'll give you time of day for it. I will help where I can. So please follow us. Ask me anything you want. And if you want to speak to us as an agency about how we could work together or how we could help, you can find out more about us. You can see what we could do for you as a charity. And you can also meet the dogs, which is Polly and Chester. They're mine and Tom's doggos, at few-far.co. That's our website. And with that, we're now on to the Q&A, where people can fire whatever they want across. And I will get involved and try to answer whatever I can.
Awesome.
So, Jenna, I might need your help here.
You bet. First of all, what a great session. Truly the best website optimizing session I've ever seen. I've got some rave reviews in the chat for you already. So many great tips to summarize. I know everyone is probably furiously taking notes. Do not fret. We will be sending you the recording for this session, and we'll also share the links that Colin has shared as well for those bonus tips and all that helpful stuff. Keep an eye out for that in your email early next week. And if for some reason you don't get it, please email us at webinars@donorbox.org, and we'll make sure that you you have access to that. Now, before we hop into Q&A, and I see some questions already queued up, I have a quick plug for you all as well. So I know that learning and professional development is such a high priority for our nonprofit community, and that's why all of you are here today. I know that. And that's also why we have special guests like Colin come on and share their expertise so that we can give you everything that you need so that you can serve others better. And that's also why we created something called the Donorbox Academy, which is our learning ecosystem. So we launched our very first masterclass in Donorbox Academy to a group of students in August. And again in September, we've helped nearly 60 organizations put their year-end fundraising plans together and build an entire campaign that will direct people to their website in giving form during the most generous time of the year. So this is why this session is so important. You want to make sure that your website is in tip-top shape for this generous season. So we have now made our popular 30 Days to Your Year-End Campaign course on demand so that students can work at their own pace between now and the end of the year. And our team will still be on hand with weekly live check-ins between now and mid-December, but the instruction is recorded for you. So again, you can work at your own pace. So in the course, you'll find best practices, tips, resources, and more that will help you prepare an entire year-end campaign in 30 days or less. I know it's crunch time, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the link now, and all of you can use the code webinar for 20% off of this course. And I'm sure you guys have seen Kara in the chat. Kara is our fundraising coach that heads up the Donorbox Academy. So there you are. So along with your gorgeous website that you're going to optimize is a campaign that will bring folks there to help you have a successful giving season. All right, Cole, are you ready for Q&A?
Yeah, sure. So I've got the questions here. Shall I just
go for
read
it.
them out? And then, so Neil asks, third sector equals non-profit. Is that so? Yeah, that's correct. So we have different terminology probably in the UK to what you guys in the US have. They're all the same. We all help charities. So yeah, it's the same thing. Neil asked, is 18 point size a strongly recommended smallest website font? It is. Yes, it is. So if you have a font that is smaller than 18 points or 18 pixels, you really need to be considering that color contrast checker. And what you will see when you're on that colorcontrast.cc website is it will say if it passes AA or AA larger. And what that means is basically it will pass if it's big enough, but at a smaller size, it may not. So just ensure that you're kind of getting a pass across the board if you have font sizes that are smaller than that. Victor asks, is there a non-profit that designs non-profit sites for free? If only. That'd be amazing. I don't know of any that do that. The problem that we have come across a lot is that everyone always sets out with the right intentions. Everyone always sets out with, we'd really like to help this charity and we're going to do them a free website or and the problem then is that they may then move away. They may lose interest. They have a paying client. You then become kind of less prioritized. And we see this all the time. They become alienated with their current provider. They can't get changes done. Even simple things like this, they may be locked out of accessing their own backend system or their website. So if there is someone truly good out there who wants to help you with their website for free, you should absolutely take them up on it. But just be aware that being free now doesn't mean it'll be free in the future, and you may end up being kind of worse off, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps. Nancy asks, do you have any suggestions for a brand new nonprofit? Any suggestions? I think obviously having a website is massively important. Having social is key these days. So ensuring that you have a good social presence and are directing people to your website content to engage and to donate is important. I think also having a brand that is consistent and talks the way you want to talk and represents what the charity is about in the right way is really, really important. As I mentioned in the example of Lennox, which was the children's cancer charity, they over time had evolved. They were helping children, but in the end, they were helping the families of the children as well, and with the support, with their finances, with their mental well-being. and they've changed. They've evolved over time, and their brand was very childlike. It was very, you can imagine it, red, blue, yellow, green, very play school-esque, and it didn't represent who they were at all. So really consider what your logo represents, what your graphics represent, how you speak, what imagery you use, what colors you use, because really if you do them right at the start, they should be set in stone for a long time. And when people get to know you and then come across something new that you've done, they'll know it's you. So just really ensure that you try and stick to your principles and have them properly represented in your brand. What else have we got here? Are there any specific colors that are bad for a website? No, I don't think so. It's all about ensuring that those colors have high enough contrast. So if you have a bright neon yellow website with bright yellow neon pink text, it might look crazy and good, but if the colors are not compliant in this space, I would suggest you avoid those colors as a comparison, as one that sits on a foreground and a background. But no, it's not limiting design or being creative. It's just about being smart about how colors are used, especially when you're considering buttons and important CTAs such as donate. Just make sure that the colors you use are compliant, and using that color contrast.cc website will do that. What else we got?
I've got a question for you from Charles. Are the times on your Calendly for the website optimizer adjusted to local time?
I have not. That's a really good question.
Now, I believe that Calendly does adjust for time zones. At least that's my experience. I don't think that all those will be in UK time. So my suggestion would be to book the time that sounds right for you. And if for some reason you need to change that, you can reach out to Call. Does that sound about right to you?
That's fair enough. Yeah, obviously we do have a large time difference. So if the times are crazy and I'm asking you to be up at 2 a.m. in the morning, obviously that's unrealistic. But feel free to book it in. You'll then have it for that week, and we can arrange a time if it's not suitable for you. That's no problem at all.
Excellent. And I think I found a question for me, actually, if you don't mind. So from Roberto, do you have a webinar about fundraising ticket sales? So right now we do not. We will add it on our Icebox list. We are creating content for our 2023 educational webinars through Donorbox Academy. If you are a Donorbox user, check out Donorbox events, or even if you're not a Donorbox user, we do have an amazing event ticketing tool that can help with those sales. And I'll drop the link, or actually, Kara, if you wouldn't mind dropping that link in the chat for Roberto to check out, and we'll make note of this. And we always want to bring you content that you guys want to learn from. So thank you for that suggestion. All right, back to you, Colin.
I think that might be.
Let's see. Oh, I've got a great one from Jen, actually. So when cleaning up those menu choices to make it really tidy and avoiding that choice overload, but where do you put the rest of them once you tidy that up in the top menu bar? Do you let those links go? Do you put it on a different page? Can you kind of explain the process for?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So one of the examples I had, in fact, I can just show you here, can't I? One of these early examples on the left here, we had obviously the huge link system. So I'm definitely not suggesting remove pages from your website. That can have a negative impact on your search engine optimization. So don't go and delete your volunteering page right now or anything like that. Obviously, having that content is really important, but how you get users to that area is even more important. So I'd like to think of it as like how you signpost users through your website. Not every signpost needs to be in the header menu. We don't need 25 links along the top. It could be if you have, say you've got 6 different pages inside the volunteer section, for example, you could just have a link that takes you to volunteer. And on that page, you have 6 signposts that explain what these sections are going to be about, so that when I commit to clicking and going to that page, I already am well aware and understand where I'm going. So it's just about being smart about how you guide everyone through different sections. A common a common example I'll give you is that everybody puts blog or news in their header. Oh, everyone wants to go to the news page and read all of our news. That's not true, really. Most people don't go to the overview page and look at your 150 articles and read them all. They will read the one or two that are timely, and they may not have even read them on their website. You may have talked about it on LinkedIn in an email that you sent out. They might click it and open it and read it. They don't need the page with all of them on it. So that's a different example, but another good example. And I think it's just about being clever about how you get users around. So signposting, being clear, is a lot better than a drop down with 50 different links in it. Hope that answers that.
That was great. Now, another one that just came in from Leah. How can they reach out to you to learn more about hiring your services with Few and Far, possibly to make some quick updates before Giving Tuesday that's rapidly approaching this November? Where would be a good place to direct Leah?
They can email me if at colin@few-far.co. I don't know if you have that, Jen, to put in there.
If you could drop it in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah. That's my personal agency email. And if you have a brief or you want to have a chat, send me an email and I'll book a Calendly that works for you and we can have a chat and see how we can help.
Excellent. And one for me that came in from Eunice. So is it possible to hire a Donorbox expert agent to help with Giving Tuesday? Well, the great news is you don't have to hire us. All you have to do is sign up for Donorbox Academy. We have a course specifically for this, 30 days to your year-end campaign. So we can help you get your campaign ready in 30 days or less, depending on how quickly you want to work, how urgent it is for you. With that, you do get coaching, you get office hours. So we are there to support you, comb through your copy, your appeals, your campaign, and really make sure that everything is tip-top shape for your campaign itself. If you need some website sprucing, that would be Colin's domain. So again, I have shared that audit link. You can also reach out to him in the email that he just shared. I hope that helps. And we also, as Kara mentioned, we have a free peer-to-peer fundraising how-to course, complete with templates and checklists. Just a really great toolkit to help you expand your reach during this giving season. All right, let's see. Let's make sure we didn't miss any here. Some really great questions we had. All right, we have just a couple minutes. Any more last-minute questions from you guys? So Cody, the peer-to-peer course will be in the Academy link that I just shared. So that will be in your bottom left-hand corner. All right. Well, what did we think today, you guys? Let's see some thumbs up and some celebration emojis for Call if you loved this session. I know that many of you were really enjoying this, probably taking notes. Again, do not fret if you didn't write down all the information because you will receive the recording via email early next week. So we'll provide those links for you that Call shared and those bonus tips, a way to make sure that you can take advantage of this website optimizer. And so you can rewatch this presentation to make sure that you are in tip-top shape and that your website is doing everything it needs to do and working for you, even when you are asleep. So Call, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with us on your Friday evening, for sharing your expertise. Again, truly one of the best sessions we have ever hosted here. Enjoyed it so much. And thank you so much for all that you do to help others. And everyone here, thank you for spending your Friday with us. Thank you for all that you do to serve others. And we are so proud to provide the tools and resources you need to do so. So thanks, everyone, and go off and have a restful and playful weekend.